Ready? All right, here we go.
You have to do it because
All right, do you guys
behind
want
my
me to play
back.
my video or what? There's like 6 people here.
Yes, please do.
Okay, here's your video. All right, everybody,
Be
say
quiet.
hi to my video that I produced just for this. Be wowed by this. I paid the guy a lot of money to make that part for me, though.
That's me.
You guys took that photo. You guys took that photo.
Where's us?
I didn't have a photo of you.
You said especially for that.
I said it for this. This was like to get everybody
That's
stoked
you.
up. So the idea was that I play this video. We are not here yet, and then we walk up here while this is happening.
So you're
Well, my
always
whole
on screen.
shit's thrown off. So here we are. So there's Soups. Yeah. So tell me when we're done with this. Yeah.
I'm still waiting for my photo to be
Apparently,
there.
I forgot to mute the me talking when I made this. So yeah. All right. That's all everybody gets. So hi, everybody. Welcome to the feedback microphone situation. Just kidding, guys. We worked on this very hard. Let me get this back. There we go. All right. So my name is Jordan. I work for a company called iHerb, but I also have this podcast called Fraudboxer that I talk about the industry and what's happening in the fraud world. I do interviews with people. And I was asked to come and do this. Okay, so we could talk about AI?
Probably.
ChatGPT. Only ChatGPT.
Only ChatGPT, my favorite.
So my name is Jordan. Would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Sure. So my name is Hilla. I'm heading the data science department in Riskified in the last 2 years. I'm very excited to be here, Jordan.
Well, thank you for joining me on stage. So we are going to do a little bit of trivia, or a game show. It's a Fraudboxer game show. A little bit of trivia. And we're going to talk about all things data and what different types of data things are. So I'm going to ask you some questions, and it's multiple choice, don't worry. So hopefully you can get it right. We'll just mix it up real quick here. And then you tell me which type of thing this is. And this is all going to be machine learning, data related, some sort of something. And spoiler alert, these were all written by ChatGPT. So, I'm not even kidding. They really were. You got to keep it on brand, right? All right, here we go. Question number 1. In a futuristic city, a young coder named Alex, see, very non-binary too, Alex, noticed that the city's robots could predict traffic jams and suggest alternate routes. Intrigued, very ChatGPT, Alex asked, how do these robots identify patterns to make decisions without being explicitly programmed for every scenario? The city's chief engineer smiled and replied, that's the magic of A, machine learning, B, data shuffling, C, trial and error, or D, asking our clairvoyant cat to predict the outcomes based on its 9 lives of experience.
So I'm going to ask the audience first. Who thinks the right answer is B? Read B, Jordan?
B is data shuffling.
No one.
Well, that's pretty good. I hope so.
That's a hard
I hope nobody got it.
question. Who thinks the answer is A?
There we go. Look at that. That's participation right there. So you think you're going with A?
I
Final
think I'm
answer?
going with A.
You are correct. I think
Thank
everybody
you.
knows. That's good. That's good.
Thank you. Very hard question.
1 for 1. You're batting 1,000 right now. All right. Question number 2. There's only 4 of these, everybody, so just it'll be all right. At a robot tech demo, Mia watched in awe as the robot navigated a maze and learned from its mistakes. She wondered how the machines or software can perform tasks requiring human-like cognitive functions such as learning and problem solving. What is this an example of? A, consulting a magic 8 ball that always knows that's the best move to make. B, data dissecting. C, cognitive crunching, ChatGPT. And D, artificial intelligence.
I want to say D.
I think you might be correct. All right. Anybody have any questions so far? You like this too?
You know what's the difference between AI and data science?
We're going to get there.
No, but I want to ask you that.
We're going to talk about it.
Do you know?
Well, data science is just taking data and running some sort of algorithm of some kind against it. But artificial intelligence is using that data to make its own individual decision on its own without being told. So like data science, to me, and tell me if I'm wrong, is like, let's say I wanted to take all of my transactions in my company and I wanted to say, show me all of the ones that are outside of the norm. I would take data and it would just show me this like these group of transactions that are anomalous compared to the rest of the data set. Artificial intelligence would do that, but then make a decision based on that. So
my answer would be great publicity. That's the only difference.
So, you know what? Fuck it. Let's talk about this.
But I had to because you
No,
said AI
so-
and ChatGPT
No, but
loves
let's-
AI.
Well, let's talk about what I think I've heard people have had it on my show. AI washing. Everything has AI. So, like at our company, we have a chatbot. I think most companies do that has some sort of AI response, which is just super basic, rudimentary response. Not like trying to sell a Ford for $1, like the guy in California or whatever. But a lot of people, I think, think that that's kind of what AI is, and it's making a decision. And then I think other companies, like Microsoft, is a great example. They have like their Copilot right now, which is, I think, is for me is an intriguing application of AI where you can have something happening on like your screen. Okay, let's say a decision queue, like an order queue. There's a bunch of orders that are in this queue, and you're looking at this order. It's on your screen, and then you can ask your Copilot to say, like, why is this here? What should I be looking at? And it brings in some sort of helpful boost as to so you can look at it instead of like back in the old days when we used to go through our order queues and have to find every little thing out by hand. So, what are your thoughts and opinions about that?
So I think that AI is a very general word that has great marketing these days. And it captures within all the data science, machine learning, deep learning.
Well, that's all, like,
the
it
different
is.
methods that you have today. That all AI encapsulates all of that. Artificial intelligence is just the concept that stands behind
But
it.
when I always think about it, like these sorts of things, like AI essentially is, like those decision trees, like not that much different than like an order flow. Like it goes here, and then yes, no, then it goes here, then it goes here, and then it goes here, and it takes different paths. It's essentially that, right? It's just data is hitting something, and then based on the response of that data or the desired outcome, and then it goes to the next one, the next part. It's just happening,
So in
quote,
essence,
automatically.
yeah, you have several methods. I do feel like I bullied your show.
Yeah, I mean, you blew up my whole game show, which we prepped on this, and you said you wanted to do trivia, so we made it halfway.
I'm a woman. I change my mind very often.
Because the original idea was to go through these terms, and then we go back and say, what are you guys doing with machine learning at Riskified? That was the idea. So
You wanted
let's
it to
just
be fun.
let's just roll with it. Let's see what happens here.
Thank you.
We only got 45 minutes.
The thing is that AI is just the general concept. You'll never hear a data scientist talk about him
You
really
hate
doing
AI.
AI. No, I hate marketing around AI. I think that the marketing around AI is more of a buzz than actually talking about the value it brings. I think that all the things that you mentioned are different approaches you can have. Machine learning, deep learning, I talk about that in my session. All of them are different methods that allow you to digest the data, i.e. to science the data science. So it's just a concept. Data science is a concept similar to AI. AI is trying to say it's intelligence, just a very artificial one.
Well, I mean, if you still have to prompt the AI on all these like the chat GPTs, like you have to prompt
let's talk about
to do
ChatGPT.
something. Let's talk about it. 'Cause
I have to talk about
I did it on
ChatGPT.
purpose too. So let's talk about ChatGPT because you hate that shit too.
No, I don't. I just don't think it's such a revolution as everyone tend to think.
I wrote a bunch of trivia questions.
My mom is really scared about ChatGPT, just so you know. She thinks it's going to take over the world. And the thing is that it's not, because it's a language model, a very large one. But all it does, and sorry for kind of downgrading it, takes a huge lexicon of everything, digests it, breaks it into sentences, understand the context, and then can spit it out in a very, not very smart way in your case, but in a smart way usually.
I got another question for you. How about this?
Do.
In the heart of Silicon Valley, San Jose, I guess, Emily marveled at her AI's assistant's ability to write poetry, which we all don't want it to do that, answer questions with ease. She turned to her colleague and asked, what's a term for an AI system that can comprehend and produce text similar to human language? Is it paragraph predictor? Sentence spinner? Large language model? Or an ancient oracle who whispers the wisdom of the internet into a mystical scroll? Fucking ChatGPT.
So it's a language model.
Oh, so what is an
Not
what is an
necessarily a
LLM?
large one.
What is what are these?
Chatbot existed for years, right? We already know that.
Yeah, it's we were getting mad at it and yelling agent for years at chatbots.
Correct. But we also have some good applications of that in healthcare, for example, where it does help every now and then. What large language models, reliant on great pivot we had in the early 20th century, is that we have very large infrastructure and hardware that allows us to digest a large amount of data. What happens with ChatGPT now that all around people are claiming that it takes its own context and content and just uses it? You have papers today suing OpenAI for ChatGPT using their information.
YouTube got really pissed because like a lot of ChatGPT's initial, I guess, learning was somehow based on
Because
YouTube.
ChatGPT doesn't invent the words, the sentences. It just creates great combinations from what it already learned. So
For whatever, it loves the word delve for whatever reason too. Like that's its favorite fucking word of all time is delve. But keep going.
which is great. I think ChatGPT is amazing. It just consolidates a lot of information in one place with easy ask and receive answers, but it's not something that will kind of change the face of world, in my opinion.
I agree. I do use it pretty heavily for this podcast. I make it listen to the podcast and write me a summary with lots of emojis, and then I specifically tell it not to use the word delve, by the way, because I've had enough of that word. But I try to use it to do heavy lifting. Like a great example is these trivia questions. Like these are, how do I frame trivia into some sort of approachable, fun-ish way? And I used it for that. Now I had to change some of the words on some of these things because we use delve, but it helped me do the heavy lifting of that when I was having some sort of like writer's block situation happening, which I'm fine with that. I also use it when I've had a couple of beverages and I think it's really funny to put a prompt into it and tell it to create some sort of photo of something. That's really fun, by the way, and like Dolly or whatever they call it. But that's a story for later today.
But do you agree that all the things that you mentioned now are just a great uplift to support, and people took ChatGPT to be the next thing that will take over the
people
world?
started like laying their staff off like the next day. Like ChatGPT was like announced as a thing, and then like literally call centers were like, well, screw all 70 people that work here. Let's get rid of them all because ChatGPT can do this. Like even our own company was trying to do like a ton of stuff with ChatGPT. I'm like, maybe we should pump the brakes, figure out what this thing really does before we just like act like it's the savior for our entire business.
But that's the thing, because the huge hype exists, and again, I love the hype around
Well, then they put so
AI.
many guardrails around it that it's a shadow of its own self anymore.
Exactly. And it's also a matter of, does it really bring us value? Doing ChatGPT just for the purpose of doing ChatGPT is not enough. We can talk about generative AI, same thing. Do you do generative AI? Oh my God, you're not doing generative AI? You have to do that. But does it bring value today? Can anyone give me one application that brought a lot of value to generative AI? Even the Copilot of Microsoft, which is great. I didn't hear yet on companies who just let go all of their engineers because now they have a machine who can create all the code for the new softwares.
So one of the things that it's not on our list of things that we were going to talk about today, but
Let's do that.
your speech yesterday, adversarial AI. Can we talk about that for a little bit? Because I want to know more. Because I think that, like, look, okay, AI, everybody's saying the word AI, but I thought it was really interesting that you guys have an adversarial AI that you're using to try and predict. And like, I had a conversation earlier where we were talking about everything that we do in the fraud world is reactionary at the end of the day. Even the decisioning that you guys do is reactionary to an extent. Like your inputs to make the decision on the next order is based on a history in some way, shape, or form of what happened before. So it's reactionary. But don't correct me yet. Don't correct me yet.
I'll wait.
But
It's going to be hard though.
But you guys have gotten like so let's go back then. So the first time you guys had to make these decisions on these orders, you can do it using let's say the very first order you guys ever decisioned as a company. Somebody had to probably sit there and look at that first order. And then you had.
And how did that person know what is fraud or not? Because he saw it himself in the past.
What was its name?
Otherwise, Arnold.
by the chat, your GPT the other day was great. But no, let's say, so then in order to improve the model, you had to have truth data, so you had to have chargebacks. So it's reactionary. So you're looking at this cluster, you get this chargeback, you look at these elements of this order to make this, then you see some sort of element or some sort of big data version of that come back or try and make another purchase, then you decline it. But you had to have that original event happen first, essentially, in order to get to the new part. So it's reactionary. It really is reactionary. But using an adversarial AI, I think is an interesting way to put things, because you don't need that bad event first. However, anybody watch the first Avengers when they were like, we're going to start knocking people off based on like their algorithm of if they are going to be bad. But you can knock people off early from ordering because you think they're going to be bad, right? So talk to me about your adversarial AI. It's my long roundabout way of filling time to get to tell me about your adversarial AI.
So I'll start by saying that how do you know not to walk straight into this chair?
Because it'll hurt my shins.
How do you know it's going to hurt your chin?
History of having my shins hurt.
So people learn the same way with machines, right?
Yeah. It's like, well, you only get burned on the stove once, right? Because
or you heard that it's dangerous to touch because you're going to get burned, right? So same thing. The first person in Riskified who ever viewed an order probably saw an order. Sorry? Arnold. So yeah, Arnold. There is an Arnold in Riskified, just so you'll know. Hi, Arnold. So it did see an order. So machine is not reactive in that sense. It understands patterns that happened before. If someone all of a sudden will create a completely new pattern, it will take time to learn that pattern. Mm-hmm. We are reactive in a sense, but not only, and I'm going to say why, when we only react to chargebacks. So that means it already happened, fraud already started, only then I start identify that pattern and react to that. So if I'm only waiting for chargeback to come back in order to learn a new pattern, you're right. But that's not what we're doing. We're both reacting to chargebacks and also identifying patterns in anomalies, meaning we're looking at the orders and we see that something changes. The patterns of features themselves and the way they behave change, then we know something is going on and we react. A couple of weeks later, we're looking backward and see, oh, really, chargebacks did come in. We were right. So identifying patterns is humans, machines, we all do the same. It's not reactive. Only reactive is if you only act after something already happened. Then it means you're being reactive, in my opinion. Now, I think what you were most impressed on, it was the part of the tickets one where we're talking about the deep learning. Is that it?
No. Well, so you had your little slide up yesterday, and it had like the AI with the devil horns, and then you had the Halo one. I don't know if it had a Halo one or not. That's what I'm talking about. Is you guys seem to be training your models, like you said yesterday, like you can train these models a lot quicker because you're trying to predict where the next attack actually will occur. Instead of being reactionary or using data and finding anomalies, you're predicting where the anomalies will be next.
Yeah.
Right?
So what we were talking about is that we realized that while we have an automatic pipeline of training models, data constantly changing, and we have fraudsters, not going to mention their names in the room, who tend to find the loopholes into customers' websites, and we need to predict their next step, meaning we need to understand what they found as a loophole and just go and shut that down. What we realize is that in today's world, the data changes so quickly and patterns change so quickly, the training models has to be constantly. I don't believe anyone who will tell you that they train their models real time, not in the giant amounts of data that Riskified digests. But what we build is another AI layer on top of our machine learning components that trains the models that can actually ingest input, select the right data to train on, and have the machine running very quickly.
So you're not telling it this particular version, like when because normally like when you train a model, like you have to tell it to look for certain things, what we call like tagging, right? And then you're telling it to, these are the certain tags, do whatever on these tags. So you're letting the AI make that decision on what to train?
Yes.
That's crazy. See, there's that. The AI's coming for everybody's job there. Is it ChatGPT?
Yes.
That's interesting. So that's where, like, we hadn't really talked about how we wanted to go about that, but that was super interesting to me. So let's do another one.
No, me?
Actually, you know what? We can do. Well, yeah, we can. So this is another part of the game show. This is going super well, by the way.
As planned.
This
Everything
is totally
planned.
like this is 8 weeks of prep for this, and then it's just throw it off the rails while we're doing it. So these are terms from the dark web that were prepared for me by Brian from the House of Fraud, which is another business that I have. We did a show with, Alexander was on a show with me. We have another show called Fraud Unscripted. And we take these terms from the dark web, completely unannounced, and I have to guess what they mean. So, let's do this.
Okay, so
Hold it up so that for the...
what does
you gotta
open
ham it up.
ups
You
mean?
gotta ham it up. For the,
Like this, you mean?
No, this. Like the logo. This wasn't, I had to order shit
They have
for
your
this.
logo
Yeah, but then I
here.
forgot to move my mouse, so it's still got the thing on it. It's pretty cool.
Do your thing.
All right, what is it?
Open ups.
Open ups. I would say that is something to do with account opening.
Seriously.
I mean, the word's in there.
I know. That's why I said seriously. Can you say more about it, please?
I would say someone is trying to either open new accounts or find new accounts that have newly opened to do some sort of fraud with.
Okay, for fraud use, correct.
Yeah, all these are fraud. It's not like I'm asking like basketball questions on here.
So a usage can be bank open ups available. Hit me up. Just so you'll know, guys.
So, by the way, these are grammatically correct, right, Steve, from how they were posted on Telegram.
Okay, term glass.
Glass? Oh,
That's
methamphetamine? I have no idea.
No, that's a different show.
Yeah, rocking the glassy back and forth.
I'm gonna give you some time. Let's.
I have
keep
no
one,
idea on
so
glass.
you don't embarrass
I have
yourself.
no idea on glass. Like I don't even know where to go with that. I would say phone. Maybe someone's trying to get a
You should
phone.
stop now. It should stop.
I never stop.
Think about.
This is, I go all
Take
the
a
time.
minute.
I'm like this 100% of the time.
Okay, Chevy.
Chevy?
Or I pronounce it wrong because I'm Israeli. Chevy. CH. Chevy.
Can you give me how they wrote it on Telegram? What's the phrase that they used?
Okay. Anyone got BOA or Chevy? Swing M1. Oh, sorry, swing my way. We'll split 50-50.
BOA. So I would say someone's looking for bank accounts. Is Chevy like a word for a bank account?
Chase or JP Morgan Bank.
So I get the CH for Chase? Chevy. Oh. Wow. Good job, guys. Yeah. All right. What else you got?
Backends.
Beckons? Like beckoning?
Like back end and Z at the end.
Oh, backends. Someone's looking for account access. Someone's looking for like ATO accounts to get into back to do some sort of action, like an innie, maybe at a bank or something.
So let's go with the usage before you embarrass yourself again.
Alright.
Who can cook sleep? I'll pay you on the back end.
Who can what?
Cook sleep.
Cook sleep?
Two different words. Cook, sleep. No? You know what it is?
What do we got? Also, just basically paying someone back afterwards, like fronting on the money. Who's gonna front a fraudster? Who's gonna front a fraudster some money?
One more to Alex.
It's going well.
Bulletproof hosting.
They're just looking for some sort of like VPN or some host to do something where they won't get in trouble.
So a technology hosting service that doesn't care what it's done with their service and will generally not cooperate with legal authorities. Is that what you said?
I would say I didn't quite use those words, but
Or meaning?
I said the same thing. I used less words. I chat GPT didn't use less words.
Yeah, use ChatGPT. See where it takes you. Let's go back to glass.
Well, I would say it's a device. That's my best guess.
Ask for context. Okay, thank
what
you,
does it
audience.
say?
Usage. If need high and low balance glass, hit me and all banks bring them tomorrow.
Can you say it one more time?
If need high and low balance glass, hit me and all banks bring them tomorrow.
It sounds just like an account then, right?
Check. Description. Check. It's Steve. It's not me. Why are you looking
What
at
does
me?
check mean? Actually, this is going all the way back to Brian. This is Brian's actually the one that did these.
Last
Steve just
one.
wrote them down for you. That's
Oh.
Steve's wonderful handwriting on there. See, he's
Clipped.
very, very nice handwriting. Clicked?
You do see where all the, right? That's the fail part.
This is the fail? Well, good thing I'm not a Telegram guy. So I got Steve to go the other stuff for me. So all right. Let's try. We can get one more in the good pile. What is it?
Clipped. Oh, you do have one. Sorry, yeah.
Clipped. Context, please.
Does the MNT get clipped when I log in from VPN?
Somebody account they can't log in. They're not no access if they use their VPN.
Good. When a fraudster's account gets frozen with a ban detected check is fraud.
Nailed it. So
Do you want me to count out
no,
loud?
we don't.
No, I will.
We don't want to live in the past.
So
Remember,
everyone
we're
can
moving
say I know
forward.
math.
We're moving
No, I'll
forward
do
at
that.
all times.
Don't worry. Don't worry. 1, 2, 3, 4.
See, I softballed these for you.
No, you ChatGPT'd those for me.
Well, I still softballed it. I should have went harder. All right. So what time is it? How are we doing on time?
Do you want to take? I don't know. I don't know how to watch.
This is kind of all the show that we have right here.
No, we have a Q&A from the audience.
Oh, Q&A. Next. Alexander, what do you got? We're supposed to have these pre-prepared, by the way.
I know.
Where do you think it's going in the next 2 to 3 years? How are the large language models going to affect, how is all of this going to grow? AI on their side, AI on our side. What do you think is the next step in that evolution?
In the last couple of months, I've been reading a book called Superintelligence. The book is about how and if in the next tens of years, artificial intelligence is going to take over the world. Now, I'm not nervous of ChatGPT. I am nervous about
I
other.
don't think you like ChatGPT at all. I think you hate it.
I hate buzzwords. Just hate them.
Yeah, but look how much money
It
they raised
makes
just having a
data
buzzword.
scientists to work for things that are not relevant for the business. That's why I hate it.
What would you call it if you could call it?
Call what?
ChatGPT. Like if you just large language model, is that what you would call it?
Yeah. A great evolution of what used to be a chatbot, now a very smart chatbot. That's it.
One of my favorite things that's come out of like this like AI thing is like the Amazon reviews when they sum up the Amazon reviews, because there's like so many I have to like weed through to see if something's gonna suck or not. And now it's just like a lot of people, like the value, but they disagree on the how long it's gonna last. I'm like, there we go, guys. Like, get this over with. And now, actually, you and I were doing one, and we're the Google AI now. When you like Google something, but that's wrong, like a lot, like a lot. Yeah.
I have a question for Hilla.
Yes, please.
Riskified is getting more and more data every year. Is there a point in which there's too much data to process and you have to be selective on which data is used for training specific models, and what's that process like?
So no, the nice thing about technology is that the hardware and infrastructure evolves right next to what happens with the data kind of amounts. So it's getting much cheaper to digest, like to process data. GPUs are very cheap these days.
Yeah.
Much cheaper to store data. So that will never be the issue. The issue is that the more data you have, the harder it is to understand which is actually important for your models, for your reactions. Even ChatGPT, it had a lot in the backend, a lot of digesting to do by humans. There are so many articles about the people who had to filter the wrong information not to be propagated into the models.
So how do you determine, I think to that point, like how do you determine which is the right data?
So right data would be the data that should represent the patterns I'm trying to learn. We have statistical methods to understand what is a standard pattern, how you remove noise, how you take into account seasonality, something that changes, but you do want to consider that. What is a more, and again, that's statistics. At the end of the day, data scientist is a statistician who knows how to code in a high level. That's it. So you need to have both. The more you choose the right data, the better your models. That's the essence of it. The more data you have, the more potential you have. It doesn't necessarily mean the better the model is. So it's really about, and that's what we did with AI. It's really about how you configure AI to choose the right data sets.
That's a very good answer.
Thank you. I practiced that.
Fusco.
This is maybe a little existential question.
Oh no.
In like your day-to-day workflow, this is for either of you. Like it'd be interesting to hear an answer from
That's a pretty good question. You want to go first?
You go first, so I can think.
Besides your account manager.
Well, can that be done with AI?
And data scientist.
You can't have a beer with AI.
Yeah, that's true. But I think that there is, so iHerb specifically, let's talk about iHerb. So we obviously are a Riskified customer, and we are a very large business that has a lot of orders. However, we do business in high risk territories that most people don't. Because Russia used to be our largest market until we can't do business there. But a lot of emerging markets, South America, mainland Africa, not just South Africa, like places that a lot of people don't do business in. And you guys flag some orders for what you would say high risk, and you would prefer us to decline those orders. We do not. Like, we manually review those orders, and then of that subsect, we approve about 70% of those. I think that for me, in my day-to-day job, I don't see a world where I don't have somebody doing something like looking at orders, whether it be post-review, even after the order's already done, just spot checking things. I don't see a world where I outsource that 100%. I just don't. I don't. Also, I don't want to outsource myself because I like money. And so, yeah. What about you?
So I partially agree with what you said. I think that what you describe is loss of control, and people tend to be afraid of loss of control.
Yes, and I'm fine
Which
with
is
I'm fine
fine.
with supplementing and reducing. Like, we had 10 manual reviewers. We just hired another one. We have 5 now. Five, right? 5. We have 5 now, which we had 4 for the last 2 years, and our business is up like 40% from when we started with you guys.
So I would give a similar answer, just in different words. I would never skip the people who would put the guide rails. So that means what he described in manual work, everything that we do autonomously, we still have the people to define the gates to decide on what is a good enough
So
to
supervised
go.
machine learning.
So supervised machine learning is a method, but even with supervised machine learning, you have the person who says, well, a model is good enough if it crosses this number, or I can go live with this model if it doesn't fail in 1 and 2. And these guide rails, it's something I will never skip, because that's what people will bring into the table always.
We're skipping you.
So with a model that has an AI layer that's on top of it that's generating features for you, in theory it can generate whatever features it wants, right? Those aren't necessarily human understandable, and it might be discovering something that a human won't even be able to understand. It's like the problem with the ML model, right? You look at like what it came up with and how it got to that point is a bit of a closed box.
So I really, really agree with you. And a constant discussion I would have with my data scientist is that they really want to move into having all our features being created by a machine. And I'm against. I think that some of the features can be created by machine if we see value. But at the end of the day, looking at the dark web and identifying patterns will always come from people. And then features will be translated from that. So I will never skip having also man creating or kind of
Whoa.
women.
Humans.
No, women will tell the man what to do. They'll be creating the features.
All right, Guthrie, back to you. Oh, Annette, what's up? I suppose. We were just shitting on him all day over here.
When should we get
When
scared?
ChatGPT writes that book.
In my opinion, when it will be able to create things that are not based on what people did previously. So everything it generates now based on learnings. You had
So when it starts creating forward-facing, like
Exactly.
when it starts literally creating,
Exactly.
like
when the intelligence is artificial but can overcome our own intelligence.
yeah,
That's
because
what I'll
like
be scared.
ChatGPT at the end of the day, it's only as good as the prompt that you put into it.
All
If
data
it starts
models.
prompting itself,
Exactly.
then we have a problem.
You heard about the Google AI bot that was expressing emotion?
It was sad, right? It got sad or something, right?
Or was that actually it?
It learned the emotions, the connections in between when you're sad, what makes you feel sad. It learned that as well. You just knew how to express it at the right time. Creepy.
All right. What do you got now?
Wait, you have Shannon at the back.
Huh. I can't even see. Hi.
This is a question for both of you. What do you feel like is the role of the fraud or technology professional in preventing the surveillance creep that can happen when we implement AI and large language models and when we're trying to build these models? Like, how do we prevent the data that's being pulled from potentially being used in malicious ways? Because surveillance is ever increasing. And the second part of that question is, what is our role when collaborating with law enforcement?
Yeah.
And simultaneously also preventing law enforcement from becoming too excessive in the amount of surveillance and data that's being used. Like, quid custodian, who watches the watchers, basically, when it comes to AI.
So, do you remember years ago when this guy named Edward Snowden exposed this thing called Prism that was surveilling all of us? And then we were all super pissed about it, right? And then and then he's like living in the airport in Russia because like he's, public enemy number one. And then we all freaked out and we're like, privacy, 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 privacy. I feel like people got comfortable really quick with so Delta is a great example. They have their new do your face biometric scan and you can get through the airport, you can get on the plane. They do it on international flights too, where it's like you're opting in basically to have your biometric signature owned by them. And I see people opting into that without ever a care in the world that they're doing it. And what happens with today with the company that got breached today that had all the biometric data, now what are they doing to do it? But they're going to start making decisions. Like when you walk out of an airport, even like the Portland airport has it too. Like there's a camera that basically you're in this glass box and it's making a determination on your biometric signature whether to let you out of the airport or trap you in that box. What happens if they just don't like me? What happens if the AI doesn't like me? What if
What does
it
that
heard,
mean?
what if
AI
it, what if
doesn't
it
like
heard,
me.
we're coming back to this existential, whatever. What if it heard that you were talking shit about AI and ChatGPT on stage here, and then next thing you know, you're going through the airport and it's that's the program, and it's sad, and it doesn't want to let you out of the airport because you talked
It
shit
is
about
most likely, it's more likely that he won't let me get out of the airport because I'm Israeli, rather than because I'm talking about
Well, it depends on
ChatGPT.
the airport.
That's true.
All right, anybody else? Did that answer it enough, or do you want more? Why don't you do the law enforcement creep? Because I think that's a good idea, because now they're flying drones around and they're making decisions on who to go arrest and whatnot.
They're deploying it at the Paris Olympics, like the facial scanning for crowd control.
I mean, I just don't know how they're going to ever
Don't you
reliably,
think,
successfully
but
do that.
it also has some great power being used by doing so? Like, at the end of the day, and I think that's what I was trying to say yesterday, AI is just a machine. It really depends on how we leverage it. Yes, the more you exposed, the more you are exposed. But at the same time, you have, and at least that's how I feel, you have much more information to catch the bad guys, to protect you wherever you are, if it's using technology. So maybe I'm just less scared about these kind of things.
I mean, I think we're all going to have to just deal with it at some point.
Yeah, that's reality, right?
That's just what's going to happen.
Another question there.
I think that the bigger concern for me is like industries like ours are so interconnected that one bad decision can cause this positive feedback loop. Like it's out of control. So I'm labeled as like a bad actor on the site.
Yeah.
So I can't do shit.
So this is a problem that I had with emailage years and years and years ago, way before their acquisition, was me as a business could have a personal problem with you as a consumer. Like I just didn't like you, or you charged back on me because I sent you the wrong thing. And I could go into their system and I could destroy you as a human for any other site that uses them. I could, just because I had a bad personal dispute with you, and it would completely tank your thing. So that's where I think like companies that do black box models, for example, where like everybody gets the same decision pool, aren't as successful as companies that have individual models. Like a great example is even with you guys is my own company. We have our main site, iHerb, and then we have these Shopify stores that we test products on, the shitty Shopify stores. And the orders that they approve on main iHerb is completely different than the orders that they approve on the Shopify. Like it's like a whole, I could see the differences between the models. Like it doesn't allow stuff to go to reshipping because it's like you guys flag it known reshipper. I'm like, oh shit, that's pretty cool. But like I'll sell anything to anybody on iHerb like all day long. But it's really cool because to see that like there is a difference, because if iHerb had a bad experience with you, it's not gonna mess it up for StubHub or anybody else that uses their product. But yeah.
But again, what you're describing is just the fact that it's different data points coming in into these. It can be the same model, different data points from the Shopify and the main iHerb website, so different decisions.
You guys do that for me. I don't have to worry about that shit.
And
That's all I care about. All right. Do we have any other questions? Because I know we're over time a little bit here.
I do want to address what you just asked.
Shit.
Takes me time. I don't think that's different that it used to be in the past. Just the impact is larger. When someone in the shop didn't like you, it could make you leave the shop and not let you buy. That always happened. Now you're right. It can mess up with your entire kind of
Because
identity
everything is
within
so
that shop.
connected.
But the models won't do that because they don't have emotions. So whatever this like, and said, except for this bot was said, but in general, whatever steps you'll take, that's what will determine the result at the end. Nothing personal there.
That makes sense. It's just the reputation data is just easier to access.
Correct. Like every information we have everywhere, social networks, for example.
Social networks. All right, everybody, we're over time. Thank you all for coming to the live taping of Fraud Boxer. It was so smooth. I'm so proud of this episode. I'll see you all around.